Right, so just gonna have a quick chat now, just about getting set up to plough and plough settings. And so we'll start with the tractor. You want a bit of ballast on the front, so you want a weight block or something on the front, just to get traction down on your front wheels. I mean, the plough I've got on is not particularly heavy, and the tractor will pull it without the weight block on, but it's just basically there just to get the traction down, get power down through the front wheels and grip. The tractor itself, your tyre pressures, your front tyre pressures left and right want to be identical. Same with the back tyres, left and right, you want identical tyre pressures. If you have a few pound of difference from left to right, that could make a difference. How the tractor's, if it's softer at one side, it'll be leaning over more at one side than the other. It means it'll throw your plough settings out. And then on your stabilizers, just there, these stabilizers here, they want to run with a bit of slack on, so the plough can move left and right, and it can follow the ground itself and not be restricted. I run about an inch of slack on each one. I usually find that's plenty when I'm working, and not too much that it swings about uncontrollably when you lift it up and turning around. And your top link, you can see I'm running in that slide there, in the slider. When your plough's nice and level in the ground, that wants to be slack in that hole. It doesn't want to be rigid in any of these other holes here. Just nice and slack, and it can just, if it's a bit up and down, it can just follow and float across the ground. Right, the plough itself, not every plough has a full set of discs on like this one has. Usually you'll find ploughs just have a set on the back, but we have a full set on, almost. And the best setting for your discs, move that round a bit there, move that one. If you ideally your disc, if you can see that, wants to be a couple of centimetres wider than the furrow width, a little bit wider than where the land side is. Your skimmer point, it wants to be as close as you can to the disc, but without touching it, and that just allows a bit of a gap for trash. It can just find its way around the side of the skimmer and prevents any blockages. Depth wise, I'm probably running usually about a third of my working depth, usually, as a rule. But I actually have them set where I could run from 6 to 8 inches and they're still penetrating the ground plenty to make a job. Then we've got our depth stops here, which that one's a bit slack. It's important that these left and right are identical lengths, so you're ploughing the same depth either side. Whatever adjustment you make on this one, you do exactly the same on the other side. These are your skimmers there. Really, they don't need to be working too deep. Probably around about an inch, 2 centimeters to an inch is actually deep enough for those. If you have them too deep, you chuck too much trash into the bottom of the furrow, and which prevents your turn soil falling over and turning over correctly, and which can lead to an open furrow which trash can grow back through. So it's just a case of trial and error really in conditions. Conditions vary, so it's just you just find the optimum place where it's making a job. Right, so getting set up to plough, what I do first you set your ploughing depth first. Find out what depth you want to work at. Then just adjust the stops until you get the required depth. So I'm roughly about 8 inch in this field. It does vary a little bit. Sometimes the tram line it rides out a little bit, but generally it's about 8 inch. Then once you've got your depth set, then you want to adjust these stops here. Now these stops alter the angle of the plough, and you want these adjusting so when the tractor's in the furrow and the plough's in work, the plough is stood upright 90 degrees to land. It's just simple. You just take that linchpin out, crack that locking nut, and then you turn them left or right, whichever way is needed. Same with everything else on a reversible plough. These left and right need to be identical. So when you've got them settings correct, then you want to adjust your furrow width. Make sure that's correct, and that is done by this adjustment here. Now this is running on 14-inch furrows, so your front furrow literally wants to be the same as the rest, 14-inch. So you just adjust that to make that fit. But I am actually running it just a little bit. It's about 13-inch. I'm just trying to compensate for what my tyres are flattening out on the furrow. So just a little bit narrower, just to make it meet the last run. Again, then when you get your correct ploughing depth and the plough set correct, get your top link the right length, then just stand back and then just take a look when you stand back, and then you just look to see if the plough is sat level in the ground and ploughing level. So moving on to the plough, different parts of the plough. These are your landslides, which the plough is running on those, runs in the furrow bottom. And if you're all set up correctly, everything should wear properly. It will all wear even. If you look at these, they're all evenly worn. The points, they're all even. There's no uneven wear on those. This piece here, that is called your share, or most people call them wings. That's your point. That's what penetrates the ground, pulls it into the ground. Then you've got your mole board. This is the part that turns the ploughing. And you've got your skimmer mole board. That's your skimmer mole board. That's your skimmer point. This piece here, this little piece here, that's called a shin piece. And this plough is an auto reset, which are these springs here. So if it hits a stone, it just trips the leg up out of the way of the stone and then pulls itself back into work again. It's quite important that you check these and they are got the correct tension on them. Which is simple to do with a Cavernal plough, because they provide you with this spanner. Got this spanner there, and on this there's a little notch about where my finger is there. There's a notch there. Come to this end, there's another notch there, and that is for your setting of your spring tension. And what you do is just line that notch up with that pin at that side, and then you see if it's lined up at that side. Want to be the other way around. Which is quite handy of Cavernal to do something like this. See that? There's the little notch there. That goes on that pin there. And the other one, which is just where my thumb is there, matches up with that pin there. And that is the correct setting for the springs. Right, the controls in the tractor. Pretty straightforward. It's all done on this multi-controller here. This slider there, that's to set your depth. So you'll find where the plough's running level on that. And you shouldn't have to alter that from one side turning over to the next. It should be the same both ways. This wheel here, this is your draft and position wheel, so you must have some draft on running a plough. I'm actually not running too much, about a 6. It's quite light landing here. A couple of fields up at the other farm were quite heavy. I was running at 4 there, just for the heavier conditions. Then under there, this control there, that's one's for the draft sensitivity, and that determines how fast the draft reacts to changing conditions. And with this being lightish land, I'm not running very high at all, only running on a number 4. Between 4 and 5 that one is. This one here, that's your drop rate. So obviously if you've got something heavy on, it's self-explanatory, you just turn it down, lowers the drop rate. Fully clockwise, that would drop it down real fast and probably do some damage. So I'm about 6 on that one. This one, this is the lift height. I've got it set my arms are lifting up to 98%. It's just so they are lifting right to the very top and pulling on the lift rods and stretching those. Then we've got my wheel slip, which I'm not bothering with the wheel slip. Then got the switch on the side. Press it at the top, lifts the implement up. Bottom, drops it down. Same on there as well. Press it up, press it down. And if I want to, if I need the plough to penetrate the ground quicker, just press and hold the down button and it will penetrate, it'll force the arms down and penetrate the ground quicker. Right, so when you've got all those checks done and you think you've got it set up the best you can, you should find your top link is running straight. You should be able to see here from my top link it is running dead straight with the tractors, so that is pretty much a good sign that your plough is set up something like and it's pulling straight. You'll also see the top link is running slack. You'll be able to see that just moving about in the slide there. Especially in this field now where I'm just up and down a bit, it just means the plough can just stay with the ground and follow the ground. I did forget to say earlier, I missed it out completely, your lift arms need to be the same length as well. I forgot all about them. So you need to measure those and make sure they're the right height. Need to have those at a height where you can lift your plough up and have enough ground clearance to get it turned over. You will find in stubbles that you probably never will get it perfect. Find a stubble field that's had a lot of traffic over it. So you've got your tram lines, you get your combine and you get your grain carts, then muck spreaders, and it's amazing how many wheelings they do leave, and you can tell where they are. You will find that, you know, sometimes one of your furrows will run a bit lighter for a moment. And if you can, you want to go at a bit of an angle to your tram lines. Then you will find they run a lot more even that way than going the same way as your tram lines and the way everything's been done. This actually in here, it isn't matching up too badly, to be fair. skimmers are working just deep enough that they're just knocking enough of the stubble off the top, and they're just burying enough of that without being too deep. You've got all your basics right, then really you shouldn't be too far away unless there's something wrong with your plough, unless it bends, or if you have a bent frog. But as a rule, you shouldn't be far away. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always go as you want it to. Because sometimes conditions will not allow you to make a job. End of the day, you just got to keep practicing at it, keep adjusting things. The more you adjust, the more you learn how the plough will react to each adjustment, and you'll learn more doing that way than just putting it in the ground and driving all day. One thing people do find difficult when they're learning is keeping your ins and outs straight, where you lift out and drop back in again. I would say that is one place where beginners struggle the most, actually, to keep that right. It's probably harder to do if you've got stabilisers like I've got on this tractor. Ones that just have to be a bit of slack on and they're just moving about all the time. But, a lot of tractors now have stabilisers which lock when you lift your arms up, so you don't get the problem as much. So you end up with a bend like this. If you drop your wheel into the furrow, the plough will fall across towards your ploughed land, which causes it to come in not straight, and it'll start to get a bend on it. And the simple way to overcome that, you notice you're starting to get just the slightest little bend when you've dropped in. The next time you come to drop your plough in at that end, if you pull in, just leave your back wheel sat on top of the stubble. So you're just dropping your plough in just a fraction wider at the front, and then it won't swing across and pull in narrow. If you do that all day long, you should find you keep it straight. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that little video. ploughing, marking out field, just a bit, marking out headlands, and opening up a new field, and ploughing my headlands. So I will do that I'll do that on another one. So I've got loads of footage now to sort through. I've been on with it for the last fortnight now, but I haven't quite got it as I wanted. So I'll do that on the next one. Now I hope you've enjoyed this quick one. Well, it might not be quick. I hope you enjoyed what I've tried to explain in this one. I'm not saying everything's right what I say, I'll do, but it's just what I've learned to do. So don't sue me if it's wrong. We all do things different at the end of the day. Ploughing headlands and marking a field out and opening the corner up.